from Applying Communication Theory for Professional Life from Dayton and Zelli. And it's about explaining theories for organizational communication, which is my emphasis. Some definitions for you. An organization, typically you think of big organizations like Apple, IBM, BWC, all those large corporations, but an organization can also include small bodies such as religious groups. I know I was a part of a religious group. Our church has many organizations within the larger organization of the church. There's always Girl Scouts of America. People tend to forget about those. In Residence Life, where I work in, that's also an organization. So their definition is a group of people who coordinate activities to achieve individual and collective goals. So anyways, these organizations, it's good to think about it in a broad framework and do not think solely about organizations such as corporations. You can think of organizations such as smaller organizations, those local organizations, that local bakery that you go to for your cupcakes, those are also organizations. Organizational culture, though, which is what I am most fascinated in, looks at two perspectives, which is what the book looks at. The first perspective is viewing culture as something an organization has. The second perspective, which I will speak on later, is culture as something that an organization is. So, is or has? Is culture something organization has, or something culture an organization is, are? So the first perspective, culture is something an organization has, was brought forth by Dale and Kennedy, and they believe that increased performance is a result of strong culture. Strong culture needs to be evident in order to create increased and efficient performance. There were 4 central elements. 1, values. These are your core beliefs. The core beliefs of the corporation or the organization, that's the better word. These can be seen in the mission statements, in the goals, in the vision statements. These are our core beliefs. 2, heroes. These are people who personify these beliefs. Looking at the political campaign change, who do you view as your hero? Barack Obama. Something else, people can view J.K. Rowling as their hero if they believe in organizations that are targeted towards Harry Potter. I know that's my hero. Oprah Winfrey. Other people who personify these ideals and values. Third, rites and rituals. These are public performance that demonstrate these values. If typically you think about an organization, sometimes even in academic organizations, there will be songs that they do, songs that they sing together, like the alma mater. These are rites and rituals. I know at Ohio State we do Carmen, Ohio, where at the beginning of the games, or at the end as well, you always put your arms around those on either side of you, and you sway, and you sing our alma mater. So these are rites and rituals of our organization at Ohio State. And the last of these 4 central elements, as described by Dale and Kennedy, is cultural network. These are informal communications that occur within the organization. Gossip. We all love gossip. Gossip, drama, jokes, stories that you tell. You can think about times when you joined an organization and they told you a story. Like, oh my gosh, did you hear about the time that blah, 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 blah? Or sometimes they'll make comments about a supervisor's management style. Those are all things that go under this cultural network. There are 4 organizational cultures that they describe. The first one is work hard, play hard. These are people who are fun, they're active, they have high level of certainty, and therefore they work hard because they know that they can play hard that way. These are typically your sales people. Second is the tough guy macho sort of culture. And this is, they're impulsive, they gamble, they're unpredictable. There's high reward or high loss. They value individuals. This is where the group, the collective sort of idea is kind of pushed to the side, and they value the one singular achievement of an individual. Think of entertainment, think of advertising, think of how one person can really make the business. I'm going to go back to football. Ohio State as an organization, uh, we we strive a lot on our team and we put a lot of emphasis on our team. However, think about the one quarterback, the moment that they get injured, the moment that they lose their game. Troy Smith, for example, after he won the Heisman, think about how that image sort of went down. So reliant on one individual. The third type of culture is process, focusing on how it is done, stable and consistent work with high regulation. Think about banks, think about insurance, think about pharmacy, where the training is really in depth, where there's focus on the right way to do something and it's very monitored, very regulated. The final one is betting the company. This is high stakes gambling. This is even higher than the tough guy one because this is stakes for on a larger scale. Think about oil companies. Think about BP. With a great example of some that put a lot of money in something and look at how it backfired. So that is the first perspective, that culture is something that an organization has. The next perspective is culture is something an organization is. This is described by Henry Schein. He's the one that's known for this, is the one that I know most. He believes that culture refers to a pattern of shared assumptions that have been invented, discovered, or developed by a given group and taught to new members as the correct way to perceive, think, and behave. Assumptions that are taught to new members, basically prescribing how you act, how you think, how you behave, how you talk, how you dress, all of that. These, while some it may be really apparent, others we might not be so aware of these customs or these prescribed notions that we are to follow. Culture emerges, therefore, as a consequence of interaction. Culture is something that they do not strive for. Culture is something that happens. It just is. So moving on, this is something that, looking at interaction, it's also something that isn't really tangible. It's something that morphs over time, morphs through interactions, morphs as people leave and enter the organization. So there are 3 levels as described by Schein. The first one is the level of artifacts. These are your abstract items, subconscious things. These are observable evidence of culture. Does that make sense? So you can think about this in many ways. It could be the physical architecture of the organization. It could be the architecture of the room, of the offices, of the desks, of the chairs. A great example is Google. Look at their design space. Look at their working space. IDEO is a good example as well. But also think about forms of address. Do you address your superior as Ted, or do you address them as sir, boss, supervisor? Those are things that we also think about. Values is the second level of the 3. And these are also abstract and subconscious. And these are preferences about how situations should be handled. Think about those times where you know you should act a certain way just because that's how the organization runs. So this is that. Moving right along. These are intangible, but members can articulate them. Think about a good example is Arlie Hochschild did a study on emotion labor, and she studied flight attendants. And these are where there were rules about how to act, how to behave. Think about people in the entertainment business or in Disney who have a prescribed way of behaving. Finally, the last level is assumptions. These are the most important according to Schein. These are the most difficult to identify because they are rooted so far down that we cannot completely describe what it is that we behave or why we behave a certain way. These are often taken for granted by organizational members. And these are the viewpoints that members hold about the world. Think about that, a collective group think sort of thing, where it's really hard to isolate what it is that you believe, but you believe it as a group, as an organization. Think about perceptions, thoughts, and feelings you have about different things. Think about Republicans. They have a certain way that they view certain policies. Same with Democrats, same with the Green Party, and voila. I'm not a politics person. But these are also things to think about. What are our assumptions being a part of this organization? What are my assumptions about a certain topic? So these are all really great, and according to Shine, these are really helpful in generating a blueprint for how an operation should behave. That's why he finds them so important. So that's my summary of Chapter 6, the culture part that I found most important, looking at the two different aspects. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.